All right, I'd like to introduce our last speaker. Our last speaker of the day, Marlon Avery, is going to be speaking about empowering nonprofits through AI and the business edition of the power of AI. So Marlon is the visionary founder of AI Impact. It's at the forefront of redefining the incorporation of artificial intelligence into both personal and professional realms. AI Impact's commitment is centered around streamlining the symbiotic relationship between AI and individuals, achieved through state-of-the-art training modules, groundbreaking tools, and expert advisory services. Prior to AI Impact, Marlon held the position of engineering director at Lightship Capital, where he assessed the technology framework and leadership of budding startups. With a rich history of working with brands like Uber, Udacity, and Treehouse, Marlon's contributions have left an indelible mark on the tech industry. As an entrepreneur at heart, he has introduced platforms such as Recure and the Ha Davis app, with Wallet Clicks being his latest venture. Marlon lived in Atlanta and spent significant time in Texas and Silicon Valley. He now resides here in Miramar. Apart from his professional endeavors, he is committed to mentoring developers, evident from the inception of Next Steps DevCon Engineering Conference in 2020. Everyone, please welcome Marlon.
Thank you. How's everybody doing? Very good. I'm gonna move around a little bit. I think I've been sitting and stuff all day. My name is Marlon Avery. I'm a software engineer at heart. I'm an individual who likes to build, reconstruct things. You kind of give me a problem, I can figure out a solution. So one of the best things about being a software engineer, I have the ability to build anything I can think of. One of the problems of being a software engineer, I have the ability to build anything I think of. And so it can be a lot of time consuming and stuff, if you will. So let's jump into it. So, like you said, I'm the founder of AI Impact, where we do like a lot of workshops and training sessions like this, where we help individuals like yourself, learn more about artificial intelligence, but also how to incorporate it into like your day-to-day life, your business, your operations, to completely take advantage of it. So a little bit about myself. Again, I'm a software engineer by heart. My first platform I built was a sneaker platform. So big fan of sneakers like Air Jordans, Nikes, LeBrons. Basically, I wanted a way where I can view my collection and other people's collection and stuff on my phone. So initially, at the time, wasn't anything like that on the market, and so I figured out stuff how to put it together. Secondly, one of my favorite platforms. Anybody familiar with the Instagram celebrity comedian Ha Davis? So if you know, Ha got it like his own lingo, his own saying, double words, or that's a car, that's a tree. So like one day, I'm just thinking like, man, he should have his own IMS text messaging platform. And so I DM'd him, his manager got back to me and said, hey, let's do it, let's see what you got and everything. So I said, give me about 2-3 months or so. At the time, I didn't know what to do and how to do it. I knew I could figure it out and stuff. So on a Sunday, we launched it. I built it and stuff. On a Sunday, we launched it. Woke up that Thursday, something told me to check the App Store, and it was number one paid App Store. It was number one app in the App Store. So, like you said too, I spent some time at Lightship Capital and everything, which focused on minority startups. So I was engineering director and stuff over there, where I help entrepreneurs and startups basically mitigate their technical hurdles. Also help them kind of find technical talent and stuff too as well. During my tenure there, the company also has a nonprofit sector to it. And so, as you know, with a lot of nonprofits, a lot of times the biggest thing is like, you need to raise money and everything. You need to raise money and figure out a way how to increase the funds and stuff there. So leadership came to me and said, hey, Marlon, these grants are taking a long time. Can you help us kind of figure out, how to speed this process up? And initially what I ended up building was an AI grant writer. And the corresponding of how it works, just like guys, what you just seen right there with prompting, it was very, very similar to that. The unfortunate part about that was 3 years ago when I built that. So we've heard a lot now about like a lot of the, the possibilities and stuff what it can do. What are some of your concerns? Talk to me. What are some of your concerns with AI?
Distraction. Distracting from what might really be important.
Distraction. What else? Take your job. What else? So make you slower. Dummy down. Okay. Originality. It's a good one. What else? No, no wrong answers.
You don't know what truth is anymore.
Hallucination. Definitely. You can basically hallucinate, just kind of make up answers. What else? False sense of knowledge, also a part of hallucinations. It can give you a very confident answer and it'd be very much wrong. Okay. What else? Anything else? I got a question for you. There was a consumer product made some time ago, and it was blamed for unexpected change of weather. It said it was going to be unhealthy for our facial features, and it was noted to be destroying the demand for clothing. What is this product?
Sun.
Say the sun. Good guess. What else?
Destroying the demand for clothing.
Sunscreen. Good guess. What else? Umbrellas. Good guess. Anything else? Ready for this? Radio. There's a young lady in England said that she's had very much a fear of catching radio face because you have to squint to hear it. Sounds crazy. I'm just showing this as an example of how us as human beings, how we're always hesitant, to some type of like new invention. We're typical, we're not jumping into things and stuff, not too much. But just like the radio, artificial intelligence and everything is going to basically, be here to stay. These are like snippets that I found and stuff from newspapers where people was blaming, issues and stuff for the radio. So, we've shown some like great examples already. You guys have seen some great examples of basically how AI can be somewhat of assistant to you. What's your thoughts on that? Talk to me. I know, and then you show some prompts and everything of like, help you write books, like what else? What are some thoughts and everything you can help you? Where is it going to help you in your day-to-day life, operations, your business? What are some of your thoughts?
I'm thinking, do I want to spend time delving into AI and AI tools as opposed to thinking about the vision of my company?
So are you saying, do you want to spend time to actually like learn?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To learn in depth. Not that I'm against learning, but to go to the levels of depth to know all the tools and how all the tools work and use all the tools. Do I want to do that? Or do I want to focus on the vision of my company?
Awesome. What else?
Can help with like sales copy and
Sales copy, ad copy? Absolutely. What else?
Hope you fail fast. Just try it.
Help you fail fast. I like it. Yeah. Yeah. What else?
My fitness journey to like meal plans and workout schedule.
Yeah. I want you to act as, a trainer and help me create this meal plan. Absolutely. What else? So Mr. Hatcher here, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So instead of like laboring over a thing, I can use it as an assistance, like free me up to like actually enjoy my life and
There we go.
better care of myself
There we go. Everything.
Especially when you look at the grid that Felicia talked about, things that I can do, but I really do not really enjoy them.
Yeah, for a software engineer like me, a creator, I hate looking at anything legal, any legal document. I'm just like, no, I don't want to do this and everything. So I definitely understand that.
Something I was just wondering, we use this word assistant, right? But is it also like, is it better to sometimes use it as a tutor, or is it use it as an assistant?
I'll get to that in a second. His question was, he said, we're using the word assistant, but it also, can we look at this as an opportunity for a tutor? And I'll get to that in a second. So one of the main three things and stuff that we can start looking at, everything of basically being an assistant to us is helping us things with like operations, decision making and everything, like the young lady said, but also to like repetitive tasks. What you're kind of alluding to is the buy versus build. As entrepreneurs, that's the mindset we need to have when we're thinking about adopting, artificial intelligence. Are we going to buy it using somebody else's tool and everything, ChatGPT, Mid-Journey, Dolly, whatever it may be, or does it make sense to kind of go build our own, custom solutions and everything? The interesting part about the buy versus build model as of today, the insertion level of difficulty of what it was before is coming down very, very, very quickly. So I'm gonna show you some custom things that I built. I don't want you to be, kind of alarmed or like I can never do that and everything. There's definitely ways and stuff, those things and stuff can be integrated. So I'm gonna skip over this when Mr. Hatcher kind of talked about the generative AI side of it. I do want to dive into some of like the technical standpoints of like what large language models are. So essentially, ChatGPT is basically like a large language model. The question is, if you're an organization entrepreneur, how do you build your own large language model? Everything. So typically these are things that are like broken into like 3 steps. And the first step is like, gather a data set. So OpenAI has done a sensational job of scraping the web, something that we've never seen before, everything. So it's still pretty challenging to scrape one website, and they figure out a way how to scrape the entire, internet. And so from there, what you start doing with the information, step 2, is that you start to train the model, which means you start to labeling it. So once you have a consortium of text, you can say, hey, this group of text is movies, this group is text is lyrics, poems, books, things like that. So it starts to understand, what these contexts and stuff are. One of the biggest surprises to everybody in the AI space is that once we start kind of putting these things into habit, one of the biggest things that surprised us is that we wasn't surprised at the fact that the large language models can understand text. We got very, very, very surprised that the AI start to understand writing principles. So start to understand writing principles. What happens when you start to understand writing principles? You can transition into language principles. So now it's very much easier, to now take a document, a text, a voice note, and transfer it into Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, because now you can lean on each principle and everything of what it's talking about. That surprised and stuff, a lot of us. So, don't be alarmed. This is typically, on the infrastructure side, how large language models are created and stuff and built and stuff here. So the first section over here is like the contextual data and everything. So this is, you got everything for your data pipelines. You got embedding. So embedding is kind of like another word from almost like compiling. So basically what engineers and stuff and researchers have figured out is once you're like, typically when software engineering started, you have to figure out a way how to get the computer to understand your text. That process is called compiling because the computer only stands zeros and ones, binary, everything. And so the researchers here figured out a better way and stuff how to do it on the surface, which is called embedding. Vector databases is definitely a new thing and stuff in this space, as well. So basically, it is a storage space and everything for large language models like their text and everything, and they structure it in a way where it's easier for like the AI to read it, to go through it, to filter it, and stuff from there. You got things like playgrounds and everything. So this is like things like your chat GPTs where you can kind of go in there and like ask questions, prompts, things like that. I'm gonna skip over stuff a little bit of this and everything. I want to circle the API plugin section. This right here for everybody in the room is where the game-changing aspect happens. So yes, I think somebody asked earlier of like, be careful what you put into ChatGPT, and things like that. That's correct. What happens if you build your own internally?
As long as you have two different black boxes, one for there and one for you.
I'm gonna get to that in a second. So this infrastructure is changing everything. And I think a lot of times we've always heard, oh, this investment, this technology is the equal playing field. It can level the playing field. And we've heard that with multiple different things. Without a doubt, this one is it. Artificial intelligence is it. And on the tech side, this is just large language model because also too, we're approaching a space where AI itself is starting to have senses like human beings. Vision, computer vision, the ability to see. We see that in Teslas. One of the amazing things about the Tesla and how their infrastructure has been built. Imagine this right here is one Tesla. Now you have multiple other Teslas and everything that it has the ability to talk to and everything around the world. One of the beautiful things about Tesla is what happens if this Tesla comes down this street for the first time ever. No other Tesla has been down this road. What it does is it records that data, understand what it just seen, and sends it out to the rest of the Teslas in the world. So now when the next Tesla comes through here on self-driving mode, it already knows what to expect. Vision. We're also, artificial intelligence at the place now, hearing. We have the ability, it can hear, listen. There's a model with OpenAI called Whisper. I'm gonna show you how that works and stuff in a second. So one of the aspects and everything where I'm really enjoying this process, like nonprofits is crucial to our just healthy living. It is one of the things and stuff that kind of gives us, the ability to do, planting trees, better clean drinking water and everything. But unfortunately, it doesn't always have the resources, to kind of like excel as faster, as quicker, as higher as it possibly can. In a lot of areas with this integration, a lot of these companies and organizations will find a way to kind of how to close the gaps and stuff there. So for example, right here in just Florida, we got 22,000 nonprofits. Of that, it employs just under 500,000 individuals, for the state of Florida. It holds about 250 billion assets. And also too, the wages of it, how they pay people is about 27 billion. But this is also an area that we don't, as individuals, we don't pay a lot of attention to. Nonprofits in the United States is 5% of the GDP. McKinsey just did an article not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, and they said that basically the impact of including generative AI into your process is going to range from anywhere from 2.6 trillion to 4.4 trillion dollars. Now, what does that mean? Everything for the founders and stuff in the room, that we're talking about your customers' operations. So one of the first things we can think about is chatbots. And we've seen and we've experienced chatbots and stuff already. But I'm going to show you how this is going to go to a whole different level. Marketing and sales and stuff like my man mentioned. Software engineering, absolutely, because I'm one of them. I get it to help me write code, debug, all these aspects and everything. And then also R&D, the ability to, do early research, testing, everything else. We're talking about up to $4.4 trillion. So, nonprofits, there was a research done by Powered by, and basically they figured out that with nonprofits and everything, majority of their impact and their experience they have to put on is fundraising. The same thing kind of for startups and stuff too as well. So it goes from fundraising, to like program managers, down to, executive CEOs and so on and so on and so on. I'm gonna show you some examples of basically how each area and these opportunities will have the ability to use AI as an assistant. I'm gonna make a bold statement right now. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take, but we're gonna live in a world where every individual is gonna have an AI assistant. Business, personal, health, finances. We already have a driving assistant. We already have flight assistants. 90% of the time, the pilot itself is not flying the airplane. Some of the obstacles and everything to adopting AI. Powered by did the research. So the number one thing is the need for technical support. Yes, true. And this was done early this year. I can almost promise you that 58% is at least down by 57% now. It is decreasing every single day. The ability to kind of get started today, the ability to integrate and stuff now, with your operations, with your business and stuff, what they may be. So I'm gonna skip this too as well. Mr. Hatcher did a beautiful job and everything, talking about ChatGPT. And for me, that's kind of like I just kind of go through it. I'm like, okay, let me just kind of show you how it works and everything. But also, I'm a software engineer at heart. So he also kind of went through the aspects of like how to write good prompts and stuff too as well. I'm gonna circle this. Definitely, having clear context, being clear, experiment. But number 4 is also a game changer. Assign it a role. So one of the things he mentioned was like, help me, write my meal plan. What if I told you we're at a place now where AI can write a meal plan based off your DNA? We're there. University of Indiana is also doing this research where basically they're now starting to develop medicine based off your DNA. The unfortunate part about that data set doesn't have a lot of this in it. So also too, we also just seen this stuff with ChatGPT. What if I told you this? %of Americans have heard of ChatGPT. Harvard did a research and everything. They said that of the 18%, they're already seeing a 40% production increase. Here's the problem with that, in my opinion. Asians also includes Indians now. They're leading the show. Yeah, and the Asian category also includes Indians now. They leading the show. 49% has already integrated, you know. Of the 18%, 49% of that is the Asians and Indian community. 20% Hispanics. 14%, 17%, I'm sorry, whites, 7, and then 14% us. And already production is already increasing for these individuals in these groups. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but I also would like ways and everything how we can figure out a way, how to do more workshops like this, more classroom like this, to kind of get more, more of us involved. I'm not flexing, but I'm talking about creativity. Come on now. We always been that. So watch this. All right. So again, don't be alarmed. We just code. So there is an open source, and here's another thing too that's really blowing my mind and stuff in this space. I can't think of a game-changing technology like this where even big companies are making it accessible. Typically, it's kind of close to the chest, close to the vest, and everything. We'll let y'all know about it when we're done with it, type energy, everything. But here, we're seeing so many open source, things that you can build with and integrate with today. This is really interesting for me. Anyway, there's a platform called LaneChain. LaneChain gives you the ability to incorporate things like ChatGPT, getting access to like OpenAI's API. You also can include things with it like Twitter, YouTube. It's basically a house where you can kind of get a bunch of things to talk to each other, all underneath the umbrella of like AI, large language models and stuff, and do some things with it. So I told you earlier and everything, I wrote a AI grant writer quite some time ago, and I rebuilt it. So here, huh? So here, a friend of mine, she's based out in Atlanta. She gave me access, allowed me to use to some of her grants. So what if you could use some past grants that you've already written, everything, and just kind of upload it into a vector database. So places and stuff, what I and use this and everything as a baseline, but I also want to incorporate the possibilities and everything that we're already seeing with something like GPT-4. So use GPT-4 as your language model, but don't use GPT-4 as your source. So, I'm sorry? It becomes the base of the data. Yeah, it's not the voice and stuff yet. It becomes the base of the data. So basically stuff what it's doing here, it's already taking these documents, it's extracted Remember I said also too, one of the main things and stuff in this space and everything is assign it a role. Here's what I did here. I said you learn experience grant writing. You write craft and compelling persuasive responses for a nonprofit organization that's focused on whatever. Now again, remember, it's not using, OpenAI's information. It's using the internal information they're already giving. So basically your own data. Then from there, I say, hey, please provide a brief overview. I'm giving it a question like you see on a grant. Please provide a brief overview of the organization, including its mission statement, history, key achievements, related to mental health support of young women. This is what it gave me. Again, it's not reading from, the internet. It's not reading from, OpenAI database. It's using the principles of what it learned how to write, and then using, its own data to write this.
So you will only copyright to this information, all correct?
Say it again?
You will only copyright to this information.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, creative writing. That's what grant writing is. Questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, so if I had, for example, I take a lot of notes, right, over the years. I have a lot of notes on a note-taking app. That's my information, that's my thoughts, my ideas, whatever. If I were to organize those by tags and then put it into a system like this, I could actually create an AI around my own thoughts. I could use AI to extrapolate the information out of my own thoughts.
Hold that question. So before we go there, I'm gonna show you another example, but I'm gonna get to what you're saying. Okay, beautiful. So remember I said also too, one of the AI started to get senses. So one of the things is hearing, as well. So we use platforms like Zoom and stuff like Derek mentioned earlier. We use platforms like Hangout, all the different things like that. But going to what he just said is what happens when I want to start to kind of get on some of my own text and some of my own things that I'm saying, and maybe trying to get a better understanding of it, a summary of what we talked about, everything. There's platforms and stuff that do that, for you and stuff now. Let's take it to another level though. So here, what this all this stuff is doing is it's saying that basically, I'm gonna give you an audio file. And of that audio file, what I want you to do with it, again, is break it up into chunks. And break it up into small doses and everything. So I'm gonna take that audio file, I'm gonna give it to you, and everything. And then from there, of that audio file, here's the 4 things I want you to do with that audio file, because it's listening. I want you to create a summary of what that call was talked about, key points of what that call was talking about, potential action items from that call, and then a sentiment analysis of that call. Remember, again, it's listening. Show you an example. So I've already ran this and stuff as well. I had a conversation basically with a doctor's office, and basically they were looking to basically get me to build a solution for them that you build an AI that will replace their phone lines. They're receiving like 4,000 calls a month, and their team can only get to like half of them. Again, it can listen. Now we're at a place now it can have natural language conversation too on the other end. Very doable. So this is the recording stuff for the call. So here it is. It created a summary and stuff for that call. Say, look, this text discusses an idea integration of an AI solution managed by phone duties and large neuro specialist practice with multiple offices. Pretty decent. Of that, key points it created. It said the speaker is considering an AI solution to handle the phone duties, for the specialist practice of 5 to 6 offices. The AI will start listening to and answering to the calls, messages, and gradually integrate setting appointments, check-ins, and check-outs. Again, it was listening. Action items. I didn't write none of this. Find an AI solution that to take over the entire phone duties, including the answering calls and messages. As it's listening, it's starting to understand what things that you may want to bullet point for action items. Let's take it a step further. What if now your company, your team integrates this, and now you're on vacation, as you should be, but also too, you get emails and action items from calls that while it was happening while you were there. You don't miss anything. Now also too, now there's no misunderstood information from the team. Very doable. And the last thing of it too as well, a sentiment analysis. It's called pretty much neutral. So the speaker is discussing potential solutions, problem facing some of the office and stuff, the phone calls that they have. So the speaker is, look at this, the speaker is not expressing any strong positive or negative emotion, but rather focus on the problem solving and exploring potential solutions. I want you to kind of like highlight in your mind this sentiment analysis part. Any questions before I go to the next one? Yep.
How accurate are they with the action items when it's listening? When it's time to get the action items and read them, are they on point?
Yeah, his question was how accurate is the action items when it's listening? It's been really, really good. To the point where still some things I forgot I said. And I'm like, oh dang, I do gotta follow with that. I do gotta email this person and do that. It's been very, very good. This is a great question, because it also has to do like the way I built it. If I would have gave it was like an hour call, and if I would have gave it the hour call and say, hey, listen to the hour call and then transcribe and everything, it has the ability to do that, but I didn't want to do that. I want you to take your time. So I'm working in like 10-minute intervals. Focus on this 10-minute, do your best stuff you can, and then move into the next 10 minutes, everything. From that capability, that's where you start to kind of get like a better output. So, show you another example and stuff here. And all these things are like today. This is not something that we're trying to figure out in the future. This is like happening now. These are custom solutions I built, over the weekend, as I'm thinking, building, kind of going through like this process. All right. So I showed you the ability and stuff of basically how it can listen and how it can read text. What happens, if you can combine those two and get kind of more from that?
Does it get smarter? Like, if you enstable that like into a system, does it get smarter or it stays the same intelligence level?
I'm gonna answer your question in a second. Watch this. So from here, what I told it to do, I said, hey, I'm gonna give you 2 PDFs. I want you to read those PDFs, extract that text, and then from there, I'm going to give you about 16 YouTube videos. I want you to listen to all the YouTube videos, transcribe it, break it up into parses and everything where you can understand. And I just want you to store that information, in the background. I'll tell you what to do with it in a second. So look at this. The first YouTube video says downloading the web page, gets an iOS player, an Android player and stuff, and then it starts to download, starts to listen and everything to the call. To the video. The second one, the difference why you're seeing some of these transcribe into multiple pieces, and some of these have 3 of these or 2 because of the length of the video and everything. So look, this already here, it's breaking up into 2 parts and stuff here. So basically it's doing this for multiple different videos. Now I have a data segment of just information that I'm feeding into it. I just want you to listen and I want you to store everything that you have, just store it in a vector database. I'm gonna tell you what you do within a second. So it does that, and then I think like 16, 17, YouTube videos and stuff. So from there, I started kind of like add some things and everything. So this is kind of going what I talk about the embedding process. You got to chunk it up into text and everything. So one of my good friends, his name is Colin. If he sees this, he's gonna laugh because I haven't told him this yet. So one of my good friends, and his name is Colin. Colin is, ever heard of Patreon? So Colin is the head of product at Patreon. Everything. He has taught me a lot about basically how to like navigate and stuff in my career. Not only how to navigate in my career, but also how to like go about interviewing, how to negotiate salaries and everything. Just some of the stuff you can't Google. This what really got me thinking and everything. OpenAI has done a very good job of scraping the web. Somebody mentioned earlier about, being a consumer, of these products. What if you start to sell your own information? So we do this stuff in a way right now. PDFs, sell own PDFs, books, courses. Those videos was from his YouTube channel. So what I said is like, hey, I want you to take all this information and store it and everything, and I'm gonna tell you what to do with it in a second. So remember I say like, give it a role. You are Colin AI. I want you to act as an expert technical product executive and expert in tech salary negotiations. Everything. I think the question stuff that I asked it was, oh, that's the role. There it goes. I'm looking to transition to tech from being a janitor. Can you recommend some roles and their salaries? Some of his videos, he talked about salaries. Again, it's not going through the internet. Hold on real quick. It's not scraping from the internet. This is all sourcing from his information and like his database and everything of what he's processed. Here's the response. So it's absolutely transitioning into tech from any background is possible with the right approach and dedication. So here are a few roles that you might want to consider. A guy gives you customer and support specialist. It gives you quality assurance tester, junior product manager. Here's the interesting thing about these suggestions and everything. I just said tech. I ain't said the easy ones in tech. Why did it give me everything? Why did it give me like not director of engineering?
Gave you 50 to 70,000 a year because he was a janitor at first, because he has a type of resume.
That's a part of it. He said it gave him that and everything because he was a janitor at first. But I said, I want you to get started in tech. So he understood that he's starting out. He doesn't have the skill set and stuff yet. Again, this is all from Colin's, Colin's data and stuff that I gave it. Let's take it to another level. Hopefully this is still running. Oh, beautiful. What if we're going to start having the ability, Derek, hold on real quick. I want you to hear this. What if we're going to start having the ability to source out our information, our knowledge? One of the questions he asked was, does it get smarter over time? What happens if you keep feeding the information over time? So basically what I ended up building was AI advisors to myself based off all their information. Let's take it a step further. Felicia Hatcher is one of the most often individuals on this planet Earth. What happens when you can have her advisor to you 24/7? What happens when you can have somebody like Elon, data, information, thought process available to you 24/7? We've talked about how basically we talked about basically how the internet was going to change the way we did things. AI is going to be much larger. This is an example of that. So from that and everything, I've got it to listen in. All right, beautiful. So I've got it to listen in. Colin here. Colin's main focus is, he said, he gives advice on growth, product marketing, go-to-market strategies, and the information that he has is running on ChatGPT. Not the principle of what he's using is running on ChatGPT, not the information. Remember, I gave you the information. What happens when now your Zoom calls, like you mentioned and everything, you start to take ownership of that data. Start to feed it to your own model. Now you can start giving business advice internationally all through a chatbot. Remember, this is the only thing he's focused on. It's going to take a second because it stopped earlier. Yeah. Let's see over here. Yeah, it stopped earlier and everything. But it gives a response and everything. It gives a response and everything, just like it does and everything in OpenAI and things like that. The biggest difference, though, it gives a response based off this individual's knowledge. Now we're getting focused. So now I have the ability to have a board in my pocket. I want my pastor in there, my physician in there, my gymnast, coach and stuff, whatever it may be. I want all these individuals in there, and I have the ability to get access to them 24/7, ask questions and stuff, whatever it may be. Yes, sir.
Can I throw also in there, you can also have your ancestor, grandmother, possibly in there as well?
If you have enough information about it, yeah.
So you can constantly have their thoughts now.
Yeah, if you got letters, again, it can learn principles. I say, yes, chatbot is one thing, and yes, we're gonna see those things and everything grow and everything, but that's just like the surface. That's just the surface. And so my challenge, do not allow the concerns of AI, do not allow the technical entry of AI, stop you from getting involved, into the process as well. So for everybody, you can book some time and stuff with me if you just kind of want to think, if you want to talk it through, strategize. I got a 15-minute free call. You can book consultations, to us women if you have like a bigger problem and everything that you're trying to figure out. Feel free. You guys have access to me. I'm gonna cut it short. And again, my name is Marlon Avery and everything.